All right, fellas. Chevy Cruze, 2013, 1.4 liter turbo, 6-speed Eco Edition. I've had a couple other videos on this thing. So today's mission, I got the heat shield removed now for you, but I have an oil leak in my turbo. I've pulled the lines out, cleaned them, they're not clogged or anything. That was a common problem. This line here, your feed line would clog up. I'm getting oil to the turbo. My problem is it's going out through the joint at the catalytic converter. This is cleaned off now, but it'll get wet after a couple days. So I'm assuming that due to the fact there's no oil drip on the ground, that there's either a crack in the housing inside or something's going on that's allowing the oil, instead of staying and circulating in through it and going out of the turbo, it's making its way into the exhaust stream. So what I got is a brand new turbo. I didn't buy it through Chevrolet. Actually, I got this through Chevrolet. It's gonna be 500 some bucks. I got this exact setup. It comes, just about every one of them is going to come with the new manifold, exhaust manifold header already attached to it. Your cooling lines, these are water cooled turbos, which are kind of different. You know, a lot of guys would say that water cooled turbos were phased out back in the late 90s, early 2000s, but this is a 2013, so they're still using them in some things. But no, basically I got that whole setup on Amazon for a little over $300. It's it'll do the trick. So, and it came with, part of the reason I bought it is it came with the manifold gasket, the catalytic converter to the turbo connection gasket, and hose clamps for the breather hoses, and new spacers, studs, and manifold studs and nuts. So just these nuts, just to give you an idea, your dealer's going to charge you about, I think it's like $12 a piece for those. And that's not including the studs. I probably won't use these studs, they look a little cheap, but as long as the old ones look okay, I'll probably just take those nuts and put them on the new ones. But yeah, so I'm gonna give you a step-by-step here. I got it up on ramps just because what I've been reading in other videos, they're recommending you pull the catalytic converter out, which is right here. Right there's where it starts, just a little short section. Just goes down to a flexible hose down there, so it should be easy to remove if I have to, but I'm gonna try to do it without it. But I am prepared in case I can't. I'll screw it up on the ramps so I can get underneath. Another thing, being that these are water cooled, you want to be ready to catch some water when you undo your cooling lines. So this is one of them here, and I'm just going to undo the hose right there. I'm going to take the oil feed tube off. I'm going to take, which runs over to here, this banjo bolt, and then there's another cooling water banjo bolt down in this area. It's going to be hard to get you down in there with the camera, but once this is out, I'll show you exactly what you're looking for. Other than that, we'll get started and I'll be back with you. Alright, so turbo's out. I was able to do it with the cat still in there. The oil drain tube was a bear to get out, but I got a new one, so all I did was cut it so I could pull the whole turbo out and then yank that out with a pair of channel locks. So that's where it goes right there. Oil feed tube goes into that hole right there. I took a Q-tip and wiped it out. They had a little bit of rust flakes in there from when I yarded this turbo out, and I don't want to rip an O-ring going back in. I got a few studs that stayed, which was fine. There's plenty of room to slide it back to get it off. Those studs, you don't have to get them all out. Although I will admit, if they did come all out, it would have been a lot easier. The coolant line, try to get you guys down in there, right there. That's the one. That's a 17 millimeter. You want to get that off before you try pulling your turbo out. It's not too bad. Like I said, you're gonna need an assortment of extensions. If you got any like wobble extensions, that'd be the thing to have. I was doing it mostly with a wobble socket and an extension that's almost too tight in a lot of spots, but you know, if you got an old extension you don't care about, you got access to a lathe, you can turn it down a little bit just to make a wobble extension out of it. Just give you a little bit of play, you don't need much. Other than that, it's I'd say from when I started till now, about 45 minutes. No bloody knuckles yet. Went pretty good. I'm gonna get things cleaned up a little bit and then get the new one in. I got some lines to transfer. These coolant lines, I'm gonna transfer those. I didn't get new ones, but they weren't leaking. I think they'll be okay. Clean them up a little bit, look them over good, and I'll put them back in. I did get new banjo bolts for them though. So yeah, you can see where my oil leak was coming right from here. This joint. I haven't looked at the turbo yet, but if you guys haven't seen one out of your Cruze, and it's only about the size of a quarter. It's just a little tiny guy. And there's my suspect right there. There's that crack. This is the first time looking at it. I haven't looked at it before I filmed this, so right there's where my oil was coming from. Little hairline crack, which is awkward because I never got a low boost code or anything. You would think I would have got a low boost code for that big of a crack in it. But anyway, that's the culprit right there. That makes me feel a little better about spending the money to upgrade this. This spacer, I didn't buy this yet. All it is a spacer for your stud nuts. Hang on to it, throw the new one, throw it on the new turbo before it goes in, because you're not gonna be able to get it on once the turbo's in place. Anyway, I'm gonna change over some fittings, some plugs, and I'll get back with you. Okay guys, real quick. If you're planning on not ordering your water cooling lines, which I did, and I called the parts store, my car's a 2013 and they can't order them, so that means you gotta go to the dealer. And make sure before you even put a wrench on them, hit them with some WD-40, hit them with a wire brush, because this should spin. Now if that don't turn, you ain't gonna get them off without breaking them, because the way they sit, so this side, sits way down in there like that, and you can't just spin it right out and put it on the new one. So take your time, finesse it, tap it. I just hit it with some good old WD-40, tapped on the flats of the nut a little bit with a hammer, hit it with a wire brush. I'm saying tap, I'm not, this is soft tubing. I mean, this has got a lot of miles on it, but there's no reason why I can't reuse it. There was no leaks on it whatsoever. And I got new banjo, well, I call them banjo bolt washers, but the seals that go on here, it's just a little, these guys right here, this is the old one, there's a new one. Put it on there. And these are supposed to be positionable, so as soon as you tighten it down, it should still move. Not sloppy loose, but you should be able to position it with your finger. So don't get nervous. You torque this down tight, and this still moves. It's supposed to do that. The reason they're not moving when you pull it off, if you got a lot of miles like I do, is they're just rusted into place. So I'm gonna put that seal on there. I might put a little bit of PTFE on these threads too, just for a little extra sealant in there, because I really don't want to have to pull this out again just for a water leak. So I figured I'd mention that. I was in the middle of swapping these over, but I'll be back with you in a minute. Okay, so I got new turbos all in. I got everything hooked up except for breather hose going to the air intake hose from the air filter to there, and my oil feed line, which is going to go into where that cap is and where that hole right there is, and then that'll be it. I'll put in about a gallon of antifreeze. I mentioned earlier you're going to lose some. I'm guessing anywhere between half a gallon to a gallon came out. It always looks like more when it's splashing all over you than what it actually is. But other than that, the biggest pain in the ass of this whole job is getting that damn muffler clamp the new clamp on the catalytic converter, getting things lined up and getting that fished in around there. But I lied to you earlier, that spacer, you can put it on after the manifolds on the studs. This one right here, that bottom stud, you'll see your new manifold or your old manifold when you take it off is notched, so that you could leave that nut on there and just slide the unit out, or pull it off. If you had the studs all out, you could just slide it that way and pull it out, so you don't have to take that nut all the way out. The problem is the damn spacer for the nuts isn't slotted. So if I was going to do this again on another Cruze, hopefully not this one, I'd take that spacer and take a grinder to it and notch this piece here, that spacer, so that you can leave that nut on or get it started anyway before you put your manifold on, because that one there is a bear. And like I said, without disturbing any of these other hoses that I didn't buy parts for, it's got 106,000, something like that on it. Enough miles where I don't want to touch anything that I don't have parts to fix. But yeah, other than that, it was a pretty fun job to do. Get yourself a good set of mechanical fingers and a magnet and a mirror. I got this little combo mirror on one end, magnet on another, because you're gonna drop stuff, and it all likes to lay right down in there above the oil pan, just above the oil pan for the engines. There's a little lip there that everything wants to land on. So if you're watching this video, I'm sure you've got a pretty good hand of an idea what you're getting into. If you've never turned a wrench before, you definitely don't want to tackle this. But if you're like myself, a do-it-yourselfer and work on all your junk all the time, really not a bad job. So I'm gonna get that oil feed line in, get some antifreeze in, we're gonna fire it up. Okay, so I just got her fired up. That's just the oil that they shipped it in, burning off. But it doesn't appear to have any exhaust leaks so far. I don't smell any exhaust, just that oil cooking off that they poured everything in. I'm gonna say that we're pretty well set. I'm gonna let it idle for probably 20 minutes or so, and let all this cook off and kind of condition that manifold a little bit. And then I'll make sure I don't have any exhaust leaks, and then I'll start putting heat shields and all that stuff back on. So there you have it, start to finish. I'm gonna say it took me about 3 hours, maybe a little over 3 hours. I was stopping to film videos and whatnot. It's doable. Ain't no reason to pay that Chevy mechanic to do it. Have fun. Alright guys, it's been about half hour or so idling. Just went for a ride. It's definitely got its pep back. I mean, not that a Chevy Cruze has a whole lot of pep, but you guys that own them know they are a little bit snappy between 3,500 and 4,500 RPM. That's been gone for a while now for this car, along with the oil leak. I'll show you in a minute what I found out too. I got a little bit of antifreeze still burning off from the tap down there in the oil pan. When I pulled that plug, you get a lot of antifreeze going down the walls. So the oil pan doesn't really get all that hot, so it takes a while for that to go away. But no exhaust leaks whatsoever. No intake side leaks. So I just got that little bit of antifreeze that's still burning off. The turbo, I separated that. So I think I showed you guys right in the beginning. The hot side of the turbo is cracked. The housing right there. It goes clear through to the other side. Let's try to hold this where you guys can see it. It might be hard to see, but the inner housing is also cracked right there. Hard for you guys to see on the camera. But the other problem we had is this. I separated it. Try to hold it with my feet here. Okay, so this should spin free. Now, that barely turns, and it almost hurts my fingers to try to turn it. So, this turbo's been shot, most likely, for a while. and that's probably what's caused it to start leaking oil. But anyway, that's it. Little tiny baby cute turbo. Pile of junk now. Take it to the scrapyard when I get a chance. Yeah, I said earlier, it's a fun little job. Figured I'd follow up one last time. Get lots of different assortment of extensions. Get yourself some ramps if you don't have ramps, and plan on about a gallon of antifreeze. That's about what I ended up losing. So anyway, until the next thing, signing out.